Good to see everyone. Got a full room today. We haven't met in a couple of weeks, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of business to transact today. So let's begin this with a word of prayer, as we always do. Please. You're good. Inspire me, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for these who are assembled here today to do the work of Jefferson County. Dear Lord, we pray for our health. We pray for our well-being of our county. Dear Lord, as we're about to transact this business, we ask that You open our ears and cleanse our hearts so we may fully receive and actually dispense the business as is intended by You. Dear Lord, be with us as we prepare for the World Games. Help us to work together with our municipalities and our business leaders and our stakeholders to improve the quality of life of our citizens. Dear Lord, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay, everyone, let's begin with number 5. We'll go backwards today. Oh, you've got the presentation Thursday, okay. Steve, please.
I'd like to introduce, good morning, well, first of all, good morning, everyone. We have one presentation from Southern Research. Southern Research is doing some interesting stuff on the south side and in working with the some of the things going on at UAB. And so I'd like to introduce Dr. Josh Carpenter. Yes, well, I figured, hold on, let me hold my pinky out.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Good morning, Commissioners. Despite you calling me Doctor, although you can all call me Josh. It's really good to be with y'all this morning. Thank you for having us. We have just a brief presentation for you. We have a one-pager, and we're happy to follow up with you and your staffs if that would be helpful. But we want to let you know what we're doing at Southern Research, which is an exciting opportunity, and would love to talk to you just about where we see this growth contributing to Jefferson County. So since June 1, we've been very busy. We have, June 1, 2021, we have actually closed the facility in Maryland and brought those jobs here, which is about 30 jobs immediately to Birmingham. And then we also have worked with this commission and others to figure out how we could grow jobs more effectively long term. So we had 4 divisions previously. One was an aerospace division, the others were on life sciences. But I think we've all seen what COVID has done to our community. Alabama has more deaths than births for the first time in its recorded history in 2020. We're proud that Southern Research has been on the front lines of not just making sure that Jefferson County and our residents are safe, but really the whole world. Our team, and you'll meet a few of them here in a minute, has contributed to drugs that are now on the market to combat COVID. We've done testing for a number of different variants, and we've also contributed to the development of a vaccine. We are now in a new phase in our opportunity of growth that is particularly exciting. As many of y'all know, we have removed a couple of older buildings on our campus, and we are replacing them with a newer building. And that new building is one that I think is going to be really exciting for Birmingham South Side. More importantly, we're going to grow about 150 additional jobs over the next couple of years. And sometimes when I say we're going to grow a bunch of jobs, people in Alabama think everybody there just has PhDs, and that's just not the truth. About 55% of the new jobs we will hire require an associate's degree. And then what I'm really proud of is we max out the education benefit at Southern Research. So a number of people come to Southern Research with sometimes a high school degree, sometimes an associate's degree, and they continue to grow. And nobody can tell that story better than 2 of the folks who join us here today. So I have a couple of folks who can deliver this message. The first is Ruffner Page. Many of you know him as a seasoned business executive in Birmingham. He has been with us on our board for how many years? 12 as the vice chair. He can talk, I think, about the economic impact. And we're an 80-year-old nonprofit research institution. We do about $80 million in revenue a year, and we're self-sustaining. So we don't do a lot of, we don't do philanthropic fundraising. We get a couple of sustaining funds from the state. The most important thing that you're going to hear from me today, though, is we are coming to you all with an ask to support this new building. The same ask that we are making financially to the city. The state has already contributed significantly. The state, actually next week, has, and we'd love for you all to come, your staffs as well, has committed $45 million to the project. So our plan is to also contribute substantially to it, and this is part of a broader effort to renovate about 200,000 square feet on Southern Research's campus. So it's going to enhance capital expenditures significantly, and we think it's going to have a huge economic impact. So first I'm going to bring up Mr. Page, who is a business leader, to give you the broader economic view, and then I'll bring up two women who are both leaders at Southern Research to tell you a little bit about their story.
Thank you, Josh. I wasn't born here, but I moved here in '86, and I've been involved with the Community Foundation and Birmingham Business Alliance and the old chamber before that. And this is really a pretty historic opportunity because historically, Southern Research and UAB, they're sister organizations, and there's been, with Josh's involvement, there's a new opportunity to take advantage of the life sciences discoveries coming out of UAB. Historically, a lot of those life sciences moved to Boston or Atlanta or Nashville or somewhere else where a lot of the economic benefit went. And Josh has transformed Southern Research into an entity of economic development, which those research opportunities will stay here in Birmingham. Those research opportunities turn into businesses that grow, that hire technicians, and pay really good jobs. In Boston, there's a similar entity called the Broad Institute that about 5-7 years ago had this little company come in called Moderna. And so I've never seen this much opportunity in front of the Birmingham community from a biosciences standpoint. It's structurally sound and in place. It's wet lab space built. There's plenty of life science discovery coming out of UAB from the NIH grants. We've just not been successful historically in converting that into businesses and into research that extends those discoveries. And that's exactly what Josh's vision is to do. It's been done before in Boston and many other places. He's been there to see it, and we know what the blueprint is. We just need the resources and the assistance to be able to execute on the plan. So I'm excited about it. I've been here for a long time, and I've never seen this type of an opportunity in front of the Birmingham community and also Southern Research. So I hope you'll favorably consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I want to bring up two leaders with us. They just graduated from our interior leadership program. One is a director and one is soon to continue to grow at Southern Research, but they both have, I think, a story that is indicative of who we are at Southern Research. And they're also going to be the hiring managers for many of these 150 jobs. So I'd like to bring up Monica Mason and Lavina Ray.
So good morning. My name is Monica Mason, and I'm the Director of Core Services at Southern Research and our Contract Research Division. I'm here to tell you my story about Southern Research, and I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. But I started as a trainee during the 50th anniversary year, which was in 1991, and I know I look like a baby, but that's not. 30 years later, I'm so excited because we're still engaging the community and developing people and moving forward. I want you to know that Southern Research has provided me opportunities. I got my bachelor's degree there. I got some other certifications in digital technology. I've developed from a trainee to a supervisor to a manager, also from pathology, bioanalytics, infectious disease research. All kind of opportunities are available for everyone in Southern Research. I'm just an example of that. I love to share my story. Southern Research under Josh's leadership is moving science, as we say, and I'm excited to be a part of that for the future. If you want people to work at a place where inclusion and diversity is part of the norm and not just a holiday, Southern Research is that place, and I think if you wanted to join them or support them, we would be doing the right thing. Josh not only promotes his people internally, but he encourages us to go out into the community and to be an example for others and encourage people that you, even if you don't have an opportunity to get go to med school or whatever, there's opportunity to do Southern Research. All you gotta do is get your foot in the door and have a willing spirit. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Lavina Ray. I've been with Southern Research over 20 years. I came in the door with a little bit of experience and a high school diploma. I didn't have a lot of the opportunities that were given to other young people in my high school, and I was lucky to get a chance at Southern Research. Since I've been at Southern Research, I've got my associate's degree, certification in histotechnology, qualification in laboratory safety, laboratory management, and pathology informatics. Today I'm the manager of anatomic pathology and central repository groups, and just finished the SOAR leadership program, and I've gone back to school for my bachelor's degree with full support of Southern Research. I echo what Monica says. You can come in and be what you want to be with the full support of Southern Research and Alabama in general. I came from Iowa, and just to come into an area that was so welcoming, including and beginning at Southern Research. And I can promise you, the leaders that are there now will be the ones that continue to give those opportunities to young people coming in to our organization.
Let me ask you two ladies, is Dr. Josh treating you?
Dr. Josh is treating us well. Honestly, he's incredible. This is not just for today. This is everybody at every level, by the way. I know Monica. Yeah, you do.
Well, thank you. Those are two of the 300 reasons that I'm motivated to do what we do, but adding another 150 people really under their leadership is the most exciting opportunity here. From what you've heard today, I hope you'll consider what we're asking the county to consider is, and we know a lot of people come to you, so we're coming humbly, but is to consider a $7.5 million ask over 3 years for economic development. And again, we're making the same ask to the city, but the state has already supported us, and so we think this is a great opportunity, not just to reinvigorate a once dead space on the south side, but really to populate it with folks like what we get in the So with that, I'm happy to take questions.
Yeah, that facility in Maryland you talked about closing, how big was that facility and why did you guys close it?
It was 48,000 square feet. It was divided roughly a third to warehouse, lab, office. We were spending about $4 million on it to operate it every year. But the real truth is that it was about 32.1% more expensive per job in Baltimore. So in other words, we were hiring people to do the same job we were doing in Birmingham, but paying them 32.1% just to be competitive in the labor market there. So by bringing those jobs here, we saved about $2 million a year. We also then sold that property. So we were able to sell it for $17.5 million, which was at a premium, which our board was very excited about. And we now have that capital to reinvest in this building and renovating new facilities. So basically in one move, we were able to add 30 jobs immediately to Jefferson County and then $17.5 million of CapEx here. And it was a tough move. I'll say, in front of this room, many of y'all know me well, hardest day of my professional career to go and tell 40 people their lives are disrupted and their lives of their families are disrupted. But it was the right decision for us. We didn't handle it as well as I'd like to in some ways, as Monica has pointed out to me. But it was the right move for Southern Research, and it was definitely the right move for Birmingham and Jefferson County.
With the genomics building groundbreaking here recently, what's going to be the relationship between
Great
UAB
question.
and Southern Research?
We see ourselves as UAB has done a lot of work in what we call basic science research. So think about it as what's being done to be discovered in the test tube. We do all the steps between something being discovered in the test tube till it enters, our arms or our bodies through as medicine. And so what we want to do is complement that really with something we're calling a molecular diagnostics issue. So I know Commissioner Tyson and others have been really focused on the health of her residents. And the truth is that many residents of Jefferson County have what's called multiple chronic conditions and comorbidities. Precision medicine has been around really since 2003, but it too often doesn't get to the people who need it most. And it only happens when someone's really sick. What we'd like to do is start doing more diagnostics work to connect the basic science work at UAB and then our research and our research team to make sure that we can create solutions that then, before they have to be treated at UAB, they get the medicine they need, and it will help them recognize, some underlying conditions so that they can better manage those for themselves and their families. So we see ourselves kind of being the translational complement in what UAB does, and in many cases there'll be people going back and forth on projects. UAB's intending to hire a couple of hundred new folks, beginning with what they call principal investigators. Some of those principal investigators will be joint employees, so they can work on both locations.
We're investing in that as well.
And yes, we're doing that as well.
Any other questions?
Are y'all still doing your internship with students?
We are. We have a program that I'd love to get more students in. We have a program called, it's a STEM program that focuses on getting young people between 7th grade and 12th grade exposed, but it's also for teachers. So there's 67 counties in the state of Alabama. I think we've been in 59 of them, so there's a few counties. Obviously, the bulk of our students come from Jefferson County. And so, there's buses in our parking lot every day with students coming in, but also with teachers. And I think that's something that I didn't appreciate until I took the job, is that we train a lot of teachers in science. So we do those programs. We have a big program in the summer, and then we have programs for students throughout the year. We're particularly involved in Jefferson County Schools, but we would love to make sure that your residents know about our programs and can market them.
Can I add something, guys? We just started working with, meeting with Jeff State and other two-year colleges to try to get opportunities for them.
Yeah.
That's a really great point. We're concerned about, there's a couple of job occupations, and you all know this, there's a couple of job occupations where the folks who occupy them now are retiring soon. And so we really want to make sure we're training that next generation. Jeff State has been an incredible partner for us. We had them on our campus a week and a half ago to discuss opportunities. So we're excited about those, and Monica and Lavina are helping lead those discussions.
Any other questions?
I just had a comment. And probably, I guess I do have an offline question. I'm glad to know you're working with Jeff State. I think that they are a jewel that we don't talk a whole lot about, but they absolutely have wonderful programs over there. This commission just approved through our district $250,000 to go to Jeff State in addition to what we've already done. And so I would be supportive, because I like the idea that you're working with a local institution in addition to UAB. One quick question though is, tell me once again what exactly your partnership is with Jefferson State, and is it Shelby, is it both?
Well, so we met with President Brown and Director of Workforce Development, Dean of Workforce Development, Glenn Robinson, to talk about, right now it's recruiting people into their pipeline. So they have some programs, and Lavina can speak to it. We have folks who come into programs but don't necessarily know that there's opportunities that sort of branch out of those. So our big focus is to get students who are in the programs now to learn about job opportunities in Southern Research. And they get basic levels of training there. Our hope is to be able to source them and bring them on our campus and get them jobs. But let me know if you want to speak more.
We actually have an agreement for the histology program that just started this year. So we bring students into our lab and teach them histotechnology techniques. That's the program that they're in, that once they graduate, they can set for the certification. And 2 of our new employees are actually students at Jeff State. So they already have their job and they're going to do their externship, but we have openings for up to 6 of the students each year to come into our labs.
So typically, what is the entry-level salary?
So we just raised minimum wage at any job to 15 an hour, but what we, I think your entry level is still taxing it around 17.
Actually, once they get their certification, they can garner anywhere from $20 to $35 an hour with a 2-year degree.
Okay, so how many jobs, once again, that you all are talking about this spring? I'm asking.
150.
Okay, 150 jobs, and you're saying that starting salary typically is between $20 to $35 an hour, depending on whatever level of degree that they have.
And it's free.
Yeah, I would say not all of them are in that same job
Yeah,
category.
that's what we're talking about, the average
Average.
salary.
Average wage.
Yeah.
Blended wage.
Yeah, average will be more, it's gonna be much more than that. It'll be closer to average wage will be closer to 80, 90,000.
We can get you an application if you're interested.
Hey, look, we're.
In fact, I'm a best employee, that'd be a nice start. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
We appreciate y'all giving us a chance to present this morning. Thank you for all your help with the Surf County.
Thank you, Dr. Josh Ruffner.
Dr.
Ruffner, thank you for being here as well.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Good to see you, Rob.
All right. Moving on, for information technology, we have Dell Financial Services lease agreement. Sri, are you on?
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, we have one item for your approval. It's a Dell Financial Services lease agreement. This is a correction for a previously approved agreement. February 17th.
We got it, thanks. We have a motion, second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And I have 2 community grants, one for one source, and then one that Commissioner Knight and myself are supporting EMA with.
We both of them.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
You got it?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That is my item.
All right, let's go back, start with number 1 there.
Oh, man, you messed me up.
All right. You've got so many of these,
Oh, yeah.
zoning things that we're gonna look at, and I got comments on it. I didn't want to ruin the rest of the meeting. Save the best for last.
We have 4 items for Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee for today. I don't know if Darren, David, if you'd like to speak to them. The first is having to deal with Hoover High School, and there's a pump station in that area that needs to be rehabbed. Number 2 would be the City of Birmingham. This is in regards to a relocation of conflicting sanitary sewers, which would be at no cost to the county. Number 3 is a Hoover Joint Service Agreement. And then we have on number 4, Brookwood Hospital for their expansion. And this is at no cost to the county as well, but it's a private sewer agreement. Okay. Got a motion on the floor to move items 1 through 4.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
have a question on number 3.
Okay.
When this is this a private contractor that's doing this, Whisperwood Drive?
Hoover's actually doing the work, so I'm not sure who they'll engage for it. And I'm sure they'll have to put it out for public bid to do the work, do public works.
I mean, is this turn lane for a new neighborhood or something?
I don't know, I think it's just for general traffic, they just need a turn lane there. So, we've got a force main that runs all the way down 150, and it's a good chance for us to get our force main rehabbed at the same time too, so it benefits everybody.
Okay.
All right, it has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have 6 items for consideration under District 1. Number 4, there's a pen and ink change that needs to happen. This is a community grant, but where you read about the original budget versus the current remaining budget, that reflects the infrastructure portion of our giving, so that's incorrect. It's 94,000 remaining, so that's a pen and ink change for number 4. Do we have any questions for items 1 through 6?
I'll move forward.
All right, it has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's all we have for District 1.
Good morning. Good morning. National Development and Human Resource Services Committee, you don't have to put people bringing all the forms over. Dr. Hamilton.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first item is a resolution authorizing the Commission President to execute a CDBG public service agreement in the amount of $12,000. This is for homeless service support. Number 2 is with our ESG grant for First Light in the amount of $48,865 for essential services. Number 3 is an agreement with Turnkey Heating and Air for HVAC repairs and installation in the amount of $200,000, which will come from our CDBG program. Number 4 is a CDBG public service agreement with Pathways for $12,000 for wraparound social services. Number 5 is a U.S. HUD NSP grant closeout. Number 6 is a lead-based paint detection services, which we're required to do a lead-based paint inspection for all homes that were built or constructed before 1978. Number 7 is a Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance grant. We're basically applying on behalf of UAB to reduce recidivism by implementing targeted strategies. And number 8 is a surplus disbursement agreement with Tiffany and Bosco, PA, which satisfies a home loan that we had made. That loan did go into default, and we will be receiving the $13,090 that's due to the county.
Do we have any questions?
Number 7. The resolution authorizes the commission to do what?
Sign all of the grant documents.
Just to sign the
Yes.
commission?
Yes,
You
sir.
just didn't finish the work,
Yeah, that's correct.
the stuff.
That's correct.
I would want to do it.
Can I get a second? Okay, it's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Let me just ask one quick question, Todd. On number 1, the $12,000, that seems like a small amount.
Yeah, so our
Considering what
ESG,
we
our
usually
ESG,
doing.
our ESG program is the smallest of all of our HUD grants. Typically around $200,000 is all we do. We try to divide that small amount of money between all of the homeless provider agencies.
I have, some, community grants, 1 through 7. I have one, for Jones Valley Teaching Farm. The other one is, for the educational opportunities in the Birmingham school system.
We can move that 1 through 7.
Okay. And, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Hold on, Commissioner, before you, I don't know, Mr. President, I probably should have mentioned, but I wanted to see, because I know Ms. Ward is coming out of office, if we can join with you, Commissioner Tyson, on item 5, about the refuge and trouble time. Is it possible, County Attorney, that we can add on from this committee meeting to this item, add dollars to it? Because there's another one I want to do with Commissioner Manager.
We'll move the contingent on looking at what the ask is.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Commissioner Tyson on number 5, basically, I mean, it's already, the paperwork is already in the system. And since we got the same organization that is asking for the same programming, has been to see us as well, if we could just go ahead and join with her on that, just like we've done with other items.
You want to add additional dollars?
I want to add
Yeah, I move that she adds
That-
5,000.
That's as long as the ask is consistent, go ahead, if you go ahead and move it, we'll verify that the ask is consistent with the amount.
Okay, well then,
So it would be, you can amend it, sure.
Yeah, so I'd like to add $2,500 to this item, and I'm sure that Joe will be in agreement with it, because he has an item too, and we matching his item. So if we could add $2,500 to Commissioner Tyson's 1,000, so it'd be $3,500 altogether for that particular item. So do we need to re-vote? Or how do we-
Yeah, you need to do it. Amend
Just do an amendment.
Amend that.
Okay, amend item, 5.
Mhm.
Change it from 1,000 to, 3,500.
Yes, ma'am. Second?
Okay, it's been first and second on the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, do I have to move item? I don't have to move
No,
it.
you did.
All right. So that's the end of my report.
Minutes ready. Infrastructure Committee, $500 fine. No, I tell you what we do, we just do that when advertising. Birmingham County.
I'm turning it off right now.
All right, roads and transportation, got none construction, Group 2 contract, good, glad to see it on there. Good job with that. Terracom amendment for geotechnical engineering services for Grass Mill Road, glad to see that. City of Trussville, debris MOU, Joe, I know you're glad to see that. City Place,
Yep.
debris, I know you're glad to see that.
Think ours are-
Steve, I know you're glad to see that. Town of Maytown, I sure am glad to see that.
I want to be glad to see
City of Birmingham not gonna do it. So,
but we got other places.
all right,
I'll move 1 through 12.
okay.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye. All right, got that done. All right, county attorney.
Commissioner's first resolution is a resolution that authorizes the issuance of bonds pursuant to this organization, which is in Wisconsin. They require approval of the governing body. This is a public hearing to be set to approve that. It's no expenditure or any sign off by the county. Number 2 is our tax levy that we do yearly. We've updated that to reflect certain changes relative to school districts. And the third one is establishing a working group to work with our financial advisors and lawyers as relates to our potential refunding.
And then 4th is
The minutes.
meeting. Minutes. So, any questions?
I'll move 1 through
1 through 4, second, all in favor say aye. Aye, good. Sheriff, DOJ Enforcement Technology Grant Acknowledgement Acceptance. County Manager has a couple of items, resolution at Alabama Transportation Infrastructure Bank. That's a big one. Let me go into the sheriff. Let's acknowledge the sheriff. Move motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Now, the county manager resolution at Alabama Transportation Infrastructure Bank. You want to do that?
I will. Thank you, Commissioner. As we discussed during the budget, we have several projects that we went to on that infrastructure bank, sent the projects to ALDOT. They have approved them, and this resolution is giving the chairman ability to sign a letter to the infrastructure bank, authorizing them to go forward. It does not commit us to any money or any kind of set rates or anything. It's just kind of a step that lets them go forward in the market to see what they can
The way the market is moving, I would say we need to expedite that.
Move the item.
Second.
Motion been made, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, you have a report.
All right, Commissioners, thank you. We did a search, and we did our assessment center for deputy county manager. We had 3 really good candidates, 2 internal and then 1 external. And I invited this guy, Dave Straw, last week, spent the day with us. And I'm recommending hiring him. He has 30 years' experience running medium-sized to small cities, spent about 20 years in one city, with a varied degree of experience managing things from HR to public works. I really think it's going to be good for Jefferson County, serving you all and helping me serve you better.
Where's he coming from?
He currently lives in Missouri.
Missouri.
I move that.
You have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now you can talk. You don't ever mess it when you got to go in your way.
He started June the 6th.
We'll start you.
He has a friend in Birmingham who's, I let him stay with him while I just for a place. So I'm
He
very
needs to
excited.
live within Jefferson County.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to
Yeah, I was
encourage.
about to say, but do we have that as a policy?
No,
We need to incorporate it.
Yeah.
Strongly encouraged.
I know what I'm saying, but.
Yeah. Does that work?
No, because City of Birmingham actually has an ordinance.
Theo rolled his eyes.
No, we can.
Oh, I know where Theo is.
Might lose half of it.
Three. All right.
Hey, I got a, Mr. President, on sheriff, on that, resolution we passed for the sheriff in the
Right.
valley. That's that amount. Do we know that grant?
I don't know how much the grant was. Sure we have it. Well, I'll get it for you.
I mmoved 1 and 2 on your other business.
Okay, well, I've got City of Hueytown here, getting ready to give you $100,000.
That's all.
So, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm sorry. I know you moved, right? Heather, did you get with Counselor about the road?
Yes.
The paved roads?
Yes.
This particular grant was for police cars, saying it's gonna do you, get money at the end of the week. But there was,
We were just talking about that.
okay, you wanna make sure that gets done somehow. Have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, Commissioner Wright.
All right, we have finance. Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item number 1 is our unusual demand report. Item 2, 3, 4, and 5 are our normal procurement card statement, purchasing agenda report, purchasing exception report, and encumbrance report. Item number 6 is a restructuring of Office Depot. It does not have any impact to the cost. It's just an internal restructuring.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Now, on this assignment, we're not purchasing from Office Depot anymore?
They had internal restructuring, so it's a name change within the company.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, budget management.
We have our multiple staff development, our individual staff development, our informational items, and we have one item for a shift. Fleet had a few vehicles that they needed to purchase. He's had some money, but due to the increases in cost, we wanted to shift $50,000 so he can secure those purchases. And that will be shifted from the contingency fund.
On the item?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I would like to remind the staff too, these travel costs are creeping up again, so just be mindful. All right, Circuit Clerk, I have absentee election manager for Bessemer and Birmingham. Do I have a motion? A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Developmental Services.
Here we go.
It wouldn't be any good to move them all right now.
Let's get it. What's the water you got?
That was all federal funds.
All right, first was the beverage tax.
But this,
Good morning, guys. I guess I'm up to bat first.
all right, Dave, you're on the hot seat.
Okay, we've got 30 properties that we want to put in front of the commission to approve for demolition. If you look at the screen, these properties are located in the Robinwood area. There's 30 properties in you know, we want to present those for approval. I put a package on your desk there. It has the addresses of the 30 properties. It has the letter that was sent out. Plus, it has pictures of each property if you'd like to look at those. And have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I move.
I just got the average cost to demolish.
It's gonna vary. You're probably looking at somewhere in the 6 to 7 average. It could be a little bit lower, a little bit higher based on whether or not the property may have a basement or if the structure is standing as opposed to a pile of rubbish.
Right.
So it's just gonna vary.
And I know this is a long process to where you all have to find the owners and put them on notice, and we've done checked all those boxes,
Yes,
and now
sir.
we're ready to go in. Once we go in and we take down the property, and I guess we haul it off, what happens to the property then? Do we own it, or do we have a lien on it? What's the?
No, sir, what happens is after the property has been reclaimed, we do a final inspection and make sure that everything's been done according to what we have outlined to the contractor. A lien is placed on the property, and the ownership stays with the individual. And then if that property is sold, we are the first ones that are paid.
Okay, so then that leads to my question: if the property is not sold and it just sits there and it regrows all the old.
We have no avenue to require that other than we live.
I got the second.
And I'd like to thank Mike. He got promoted to the building chief, and he's taking this. We've already got 17 under bid. This is another 30. Yeah, he has another 30 in the works, working the steps that should hit next fiscal year. So that'll be 77 within 24 months. So I'm super excited and thankful for his hard work.
Yeah, this is something we've been wanting to do for quite a while. Thank y'all for finally getting it up and running. I know it's difficult to do.
We've always been, reactive, just, looking at when we have complaints. But now we've had the opportunity to go proactive and try to clean up some communities and help the community to be better for the people that live there.
And Robinwood is a good start.
And just FYI, our next group of houses will be looking at those Cena area.
Probably 30 there alone.
30 or 35. It's I think it's more than 30.
And
How many, sorry.
no,
How many properties out there have we identified that need to be demolished?
I think somewhere upwards of 300 that we know of. And we have an inspector that's actively in the county, and he does investigate areas, and we're not waiting on someone to tell us about them. We're actually out in the communities, looking at those and being proactive on those problems.
And even with the ones that we turned in, the list that we turned in that needed.
Any ones that have turned into us, we do put those on the list, and what we're trying to do is make an impact on the community. So if you'll notice, we've got this group in Robinwood, we're gonna have a group in Docena, and we'll look at different areas. What we're gonna do is make an impact. We don't wanna do one house here and one there.
But when that one house is when everybody else's community or house, area is fine and they're keeping it up, but yet there's that one, I think if you went and popped that one,
You're absolutely
expand
right,
the whole.
and we have integrated, like if there's a property that's kind of out on its own, it's not in a cluster, then we'll incorporate that one property in with a cluster to take care of that.
Well, all right. Okay. So there's a couple of examples that I know of in between our districts, mine and Skills. That's one house. Everybody else around there is trying to keep theirs up, but this one is just, it's an old burnout.
Well, if you would bring that to our team.
I have, but I will again.
And do it again, and we definitely will see if we can do it.
And it may be on this map, so I'd ask the staff to get with y'all and your staff with the map blown up a little bigger so that y'all can really have a good idea of which ones.
And those other 32 that y'all already done. And also Cal, that new county manager, just flipping through here, you might can get him a fixture up or.
Yeah, there's plenty out there in Robinwood, Kaz.
Thank you.
Yes.
Number one is that's a good first step. Number two, we need to go a step further and rehab these neighborhoods. We have investors that, without any cost to the county, will come in and build homes here. But they're gonna need the property. I need legal. If there's, ask them for to give us the property. And if not, we need to see how much it is. But we do have, I've had 2 different investors come by and say, we're looking for areas to rehab, to make it not government housing. People where they can have a beginning affordable home and do that and move forward. So I want to challenge legal department. I know it's going to be kind of a task, but to try to get that done, because once we clean it up, that's great. But we want that neighborhood, wherever it is in Jefferson County, we want it to be better than it was.
So historically, we had not looked at land bank kind of things here because we didn't have a significant amount of vacant houses. But I think maybe during the course of tornadoes and that kind of thing, it may be worth us revisiting establishing a land bank issue. So we'll take a look at that. We didn't have that much of it way back when, but it may be time to revisit that. So
I would appreciate that. I know the commission would appreciate that, because there's certain areas, and right now with interest rates rising, it's going to, you sacrifice your payment to interest from brick and mortar. And that window is really closed.
And land banking, at the state, they dropped it down to 100 houses. Right now, we have Lipscomb, Brighton, I think in several other small municipalities, and they include the unincorporated area. They are partnering together to get the 100 houses and start their land banking. I checked with Linda Coleman last week, and she said it has been signed and it's down to 100 houses. And they can all get together and partner to start their own.
And that's something we need. That's something that we need to do as a commission, is to go to improve the quality of life in these neighborhoods, and to rehabilitate them and to give them a reason to raise their children and to live in Jefferson County.
But that goes back to what I was saying too.
And so I'm saying, I was getting ready to speak, so pardon me. So, Mr. President, and getting back to the county attorney, typically if we are the body, the governmental body that is demolishing the property, you're talking about, President, about gaining access to the property, then by way of us demolishing it, we should be legally entitled to place a lien on that property. Therefore, that the owner of the property, that kind of brings them to the table sooner than later, so that we can be able to, because if they don't pay the lien, they don't have a property. They no longer own the property, especially.
So theoretically, that in theory, that may give us some avenue, but in a lot of instances, the reason that you don't have these people in the first place is because they're absentee owners, and they don't really care. And so lots of times when we do these and we put the liens on the properties, it may be years down the road before anybody ever shows up, heirs or that kind of thing. But again, we had not looked at land banking when it first started because we didn't have that many dilapidated properties, and so now.
So you're saying that because I thought it was a state statute in place that gives that property owner a certain period of time to redeem it after a lien has been placed.
Two different things. So
okay.
for
so you're saying land banking will get us.
That's an opportunity to look at the properties, correct. We just didn't have a significant amount of area at the time that land banking began to invest.
So then it wasn't an interest because it wasn't a demand for it.
But I can get that document. I think they have incorporated all that. They've been working on it for about 2 or 3 months now. And I think they just about got all the paperwork in because they had their city attorney to actually, all of those city attorneys, Lipscomb, Brighton, and they all got together.
Right, so they would be looking at a cooperative to work among themselves.
I think
that wouldn't be, that would be something we might need to explore, but we would be talking about, in this instance, we would only be talking about unincorporated Jefferson County.
I understand.
So we could possibly look at, we'll get with them and see if that's something that we might want to look at.
Yeah, because
as a joint
I think they got enough to do that with, because I talked to Ammons about it. Me and him been talking about it for about a year now, even with Rosedale. And it's some unincorporated part over there. So
if that be the case, in closing for me, if we can kind of look at the perimeters that will get us there sooner than later to redevelop these communities, that's what you're talking about. To redevelop these communities so that we don't turn what we use as a demolition project and turn it into blight, because that's exactly what it's going to do. If you don't do anything to redevelop the purpose of that land, that's all it's going to turn into. But the only ask that I would have is that once we get to that point, I would be absolutely interested in how we publicize so that we don't have private entities that have access to knowing where these properties are. And there may be some other unknown folk that are out there that probably live within Jefferson County that would like to take advantage of those opportunities as well. So I just want to make sure that it's properly publicized.
If you go back and if the commission wishes to establish a land bank program, there's certain state requirements in terms of protocol, so that would all take place and have to come back to you all. So we would make a presentation to you to see if that's something that you all want to pursue, because again, it's not going to go without initial cost to do this. So we'll get something.
And I get that. And what I was wanting to say is, number one, it just almost seems futile for us to go ahead and go in there, clean them up, and then put a lien on it, and it sits there and regrows. And if there was some opportunity for us to be able to somehow buy it through a land bank or make an offer on it somehow. But let me ask you two guys this. When you incur these, how many times do you run into somebody's already purchased the property through a tax lien?
We do a title search, and for the most part, it comes back, where a lot of times they either don't know who it is. We got, I think, 11 properties in these 30 that the owner is deceased, and we don't have any contact with anyone else. So it is difficult to purchase the property or do anything because there's no one there. Yeah. And one thing come to mind, I don't know how the county works on this, but would there be any way that the county could maintain those properties in those areas?
No.
No.
The only, and I want to make, when we talk about clearing them, is that municipalities have the authority to deal with weeds and that kind of thing and do weed liens. We don't have that. What we have, the only authority we have legislatively is to deal with structures. So when we do our demolitions, it's removing the structures based on them being a public nuisance. Obviously, during the course of that, the lots kind of become clean just by the very nature of having to get rid of the structure. But you're correct, that's the county's one shot and kind of the end of that unless we do something relative to a land bank establishment. And so, again, I'll look at that and present that to you.
All right. You ready, sir? I have a motion and a second on one. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Michael, C 22 000007.
This is the application done with Haverford, representing themselves, the property owners, requesting a map amendment to rezone property from A1 agricultural institutional 1 to A1 agricultural zone district for the purpose of removing split zoning on the property to allow livestock and grazing. The site or the property is located 1943 Brookside Road in the Mount Olive area and contains 4.76 acres of land. There was no opposition from the surrounding community, and the Planning and Zoning Committee and the Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending approval.
Second. A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. In the interest of time, Jim, what's you got? You said you had a couple of these. We can pass most of them. Which one of those?
That we probably need to look at. You've got some that have had denials that they've recommended. You have a beverage case down here in McCall on Macador that is very similar to the one, very close to the one that we did away with.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just go back in order. Z220012, very quickly, sir.
Yes, sir. This is the application of Jason Untitled Chapter. He's representing the property owner, which is Rosser Farms Homeowners Association Incorporated. They're requesting a map amendment to rezone property from RG Single Family District to CC1 Country Club. And this is for the purpose of allowing a pool house, a pool, and a playground area.
A motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
220013.
Yes, sir. So this is the application of April Grinding representing the property owner, Mary Jana Carroll. They're requesting a map amendment to rezone property from R2 and C1 to A1 agricultural zone district to allow a mobile home. The property address is 850 Pinewood Avenue in the Concord area. Staff is recommending denial because mobile homes are not recommended in accordance with the Concord Community Plan that was adopted by that community. There were no letters of opposition. However, the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending denial for this rezoning application.
Have you seen the trailer? I don't know what it is. It's a trailer. Is it? I think it's very, very expensive. Does it sit on a foundation?
The property owner, or the applicant, did say it sit on a foundation.
It will sit on a foundation.
Which would make it a modular.
Which would make it a modular.
Manufacturer.
And all right, Michael, we're gonna talk a lot today anyway. Do you have any video or pictures of this?
Of the site?
No, I'm not worried about the site. I'm worried about what the trailer or mobile home is going to look like.
He didn't present any pictures of what it would look like.
When did Concord pass this? Oh, no.
When it came out of the tornado. When they came out of the tornado in 2011. That was part of the deal that Doc Hamilton that worked that entire structure deal. We can have our meeting. What I'd like to do, I'd like to see what it looks like and how much it's going to cost. Because I know that there's several homes in that area that if it's going to be placed on a foundation and have a basement, a block basement, I think that it would it may fit in that area. But I just don't want to deny them just because it is a trailer. Because there's so many people out there who just can't afford that. And if it looks good and it doesn't degrade the community, I would certainly not want to be the one to deny it.
I agree.
So,
We got somebody that owns the property.
no one's really, and I'm pretty active out there in that community, so Chris, would you call those folks?
All right, so we're gonna move this to the agenda. I need a motion. Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye. Z 220014.
Yes, sir. So this is the application of Cindy Birchfield representing two sisters, Cindy herself and Virginia Birchfield. They're requesting the map amendment to rezone property from I3 industrial to A1 agricultural mobile use.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Z 220015.
Yes, sir. So this is the application of Samuel Griffin representing Tyrone and Samuel Griffin. They're requesting the map amendment from A1 and R1 to the A1 agricultural zone district for agricultural use. The site is located 5502 Clay Palmer Hill Road in Pinson area, containing 20.66 acres. There was one letter of opposition. However, no one was present at the meeting opposing this particular rezoning request. Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending approval of the rezoning.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's your area.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Z 220016.
Yes, sir. This is the application for Christina James representing Sardis Baptist Church. She's requesting map amendment from A1 agricultural institutional 1 and CU current use to the A1 agricultural zone district to allow the existing church as well as a residential use or a future residential use.
I would.
Yes.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Z 220017.
Yes, sir. This is the application of Bradley Levi Harvey representing the property owner of Caesar. Yes.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Z 220018.
This is the application of Celine Bigani representing Shelley Lynn Allen and Vicki T. Allen. This is a map amendment from R1 to C1 to allow a gas station. There are several parcels involved. It's in the Forestville area containing 4.83 acres. There was no opposition at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, and the Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending approval. There is a site plan for your review on page 9 of the letter for this case.
Any word or looks like on that site plan there might be a shell or a service station with a casino attached?
There was no mention of the casino.
Do I have a motion?
Is it because it's... I did have a question.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay, on this, item here, was there anyone from the neighborhood at the meeting? The reason why there was no opposition?
No, not that I recall. There was no one from the community at this meeting to oppose or to recommend in favor of it.
Okay. So, because I would like to know, do we have any kind of key conditions in place to make sure that this applicant is only allowed or permitted to be able to build the construction that they are only with the intent that has been presented to us?
We didn't recommend any conditions for this rezoning, however, you can limit the use to the site plan that was submitted.
Yeah, I'd like to do that, but I don't want it to be something else other than what's being presented. I think we have to be the police in some instances for our own communities.
Okay.
So this
And
is,
as a matter of fact, we can move it to the agenda, but I would like to have an offline conversation so you all can tell me what feasible key conditions before Thursday. Because I just want to make sure that we just don't have another, something that I think is on paper, it may appear to be one thing, and then it ends up being something totally different, and they don't maintain it.
Understood. I'll come up with some language for you for the meeting up there.
Please.
But this is
Especially on 922.
yeah.
I mean, that's a big
That's
deal.
a
They
big
need,
Yeah.
they need that commerce.
Yeah, there's
going
not
on.
a neighborhood right around it, so.
Yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
needs to be appropriate.
All right, do I have a motion?
With that,
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 220019,
This is the application of Danny Christmas representing Danny and Jan Christmas. They're requesting to have the residential rezone property
So
from
moved.
I-3.
motion and second, all in favor, please say aye. 220020,
Like to hear this.
so did you say you're moving this?
No, sir, I'd like to hear this.
This is the application of Charles A.J. Beavers Jr. representing Dulis Nolan, Johnny Lee Nolan, and James Robert Nolan. They're requesting a rezoning from A1 agricultural to C1 commercial for a convenience store with a gas station and deli. Site's located at 4476 Bell Hill Road in the McCall area. There was one letter of opposition submitted. However, the staff is recommending approval with two conditions, and I'll read those. Number one, development of property shall be in substantial conformance to the architectural rendering submitted for the April 14 Planning and Zoning Commission hearing. And two, the site plan for any additional new construction must be submitted for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The site plan is shown on page 9 of 12 in your handout. Although there was one letter of opposition submitted, there was nobody in opposition at the hearing, and the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending approval of this rezoning request.
I was actually thinking that that area was going to all transition into medical type stuff. Is that going to be, is that a spot zone, or how much of that is going to be zoned without me looking at my book?
It's not spot zoning because it's consistent with the county's long-range future land use plan. And that area is designated as G2 Control Road 24 Rural Village Center. And
There's
so,
nothing rural about that anymore. I don't know whether your land use plan is outdated or antiquated or whatever it is, but they're building a hospital across the street. And we're having to do a 5-lane road through there. So that's not appropriate.
yeah, it's in the Shapes Creek watershed master plan.
Yeah.
You know, this is 5.4 acres, and that this particular use is consistent with Shapes Creek. And that's why we're recommending approval. It's not a spot zoning.
Yeah, I just wondered if the Beavers are gonna, or the Nolans are going to regret not holding off and doing something medical related a little bit later on. I'm not trying to tell them how to do it, but isn't that right in the middle of,
It's almost directly across from the access to.
it's all, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you're sure that that's a good use for that property?
Yeah, rural village center would allow,
I'll point out, their access will be reviewed and controlled by the highway department, and they'll have to line up, and that'll still be looked at very closely if y'all do approve.
Well, I'm not gonna say telling, I got more sense of these folks on this property, and I don't wanna hold them back from doing what they wanna do. I would just really like for them to look and see if that is indeed the highest and best use of what they want.
Well, that's, I guess, up to them.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
with that,
Have a motion, do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
D 220021.
yes, sir, this is the application of Attorney Charles A.J. Beavers Jr. representing, in this case, Some Lee Rand LLC. They were asking for the extension of a mining operation. Property is currently zoned I-1 as strip mining. There are existing covenants. The original case Z2034 expires on June 30th, 2022, but they're asking that this application not sunset, that they be allowed to continue operating through March 15th, 2025. Site located at 1550 Sardis Road in the Sardis area, contains 49.68 acres. Commission, Planning and Zoning Committee, recommending that the existing covenants 1 through 5 listed on your paper be reestablished, and they're also recommending approval.
Was there opposition?
There was no opposition to this operation.
Do I have a motion?
Move the item.
A motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
B220004. Beverage.
Yes, sir. Case number 4 is a request for a liquor store. Request number 3 is a request for a transfer of a off-premise beer and wine license that's active at this one location. It's at the corner of Eastern Valley and Abernathy, down in McCalla. Just yesterday afternoon, we did receive one letter of opposition to the liquor store request, and I'll pass those out to you. From a property owner that's directly across the street. We also pointed out that there is a rezoning request in the works, again, across the street from this gas station, where the property owner is requesting rezoning for a daycare center. But that case has not gone before planning and zoning yet.
This is very close to the liquor store that we denied there at the end of Mac Shannon about a month ago. I also would like to remind, I believe that there are bingo machines in this facility. So I don't know that if you deny it, what are you going to do? They're going to build it anyway. They're at the end of 15th Street where we denied that they're operating now. So I would recommend that we deny it.
Yeah, but if you're not sure it's found that down, you need to go in there and see.
Well, Commissioner, I'm going to travel down to this afternoon and verify.
I have a motion.
So I'll move it to the agenda pending further investigation by our employee.
Is this a public hearing?
There is a public hearing on the liquor license request.
Not on the beverage.
But not the beer. The beer and wine is just a transfer, which doesn't require a public hearing.
I moved it. Seemed like.
All right, I have a motion. And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah, I'll oppose.
All right. B, two.
My district.
B,
Oh, it's your district?
Yes, my district. It's across from Mac Shannon.
B, 220003.
Case number 3 is the request for the transfer of the off-premise beer and wine license.
I'd like to hold that pending bingo.
You'd like to do what, Mr.?
I'd like to withhold that pending further investigation. See what's in that.
So we'll
Bill.
second.
I can verify that in a second.
So it'll go to the agenda, right? This is for
That's what we're
public hearing,
voting.
right?
No,
No, there's no public hearing here.
public hearing on these two.
We just vote on, we can vote on it third.
The first one's a public hearing, the second one is not.
You put it to the
The first
agenda,
one is
that-
public.
and that's fine, you can put it to the agenda and there's two separate items there.
All right, so the first one is a public hearing, and we pass that to the agenda.
Right.
Now, the second one is not a public hearing, and so we're going to have some people look into it. So do I have a motion to pass it to the agenda?
I will.
Yes.
All right, have a motion to
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank
And that's the one that we had tonight, that you checked.
No,
No, that's
this is the second. First one, both of them going to the agenda.
you. Okay, I'm moving on to general services. Are we done with that? Ms. Wilkins, are you on?
Yes, Commissioner. Good morning, Commissioners. General Services has 2 items on the agenda for approval this morning. The first item is the agreement for professional services for the re-roof at the family court. And the second item is amendment number 1 for the DLR Group Architects for the Youth Detention Center renovation project.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Human Resources?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We have 2 employment contracts on the agenda. One is to fill the Deputy Director of General Services, and the second is to fill the Director of General Services.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Trish.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Compliance Office Legacy Group, Inc. Who wants that one?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Cricket Snyder with the Compliance Office. This is an amendment to the original contract with the Legacy Group to increase the number of inclusive leadership as well as professional development workshops available to our staff.
Can you explain what this is and what this does, since it looks like it's continuing?
So the original agreement was for them to come in and help us with our post-consent decree initiatives for diversity, equity, and inclusion at the county.
Have we done that? Have we done that?
They have successfully come in and completed training with our executive leadership, and as a result of the success of that, we were commissioned by our leaders, our executive leaders, to bring them back on to kind of do that same type of training for our mid-level management and those that have direct reports.
Commissioners, if I may add on, we had such value out of the first training that I engaged Cricket and asked for some assistance to provide some additional training internally, and it's been tremendously beneficial. So,
is that for you personally or for your staff?
For our staff, yes. I know I need lots of training.
I have a motion in a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, that's and I have a motion for all my grants.
Okay, no more. I'm
And
a
then-
second it, but I want to
Ms.
add
Gales
to number
wants
2.
Ms. Gales is adding 5,000 on number 2.
2,500.
2,500 on
And
item.
2,500 is going to come out of yours to make 5,000 for your turn. Just approval 1 through.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
With the
motion. Millie got that. Didn't you have the motion? That's what we thought we said.
You got 2,500?
Yes.
You got 5 for school. Put 5.
It was 5 for you.
Put 5 for school.
Deal, you got it?
Yeah.
I just, a quick update on the Interstate right-of-way project. There's 2 phases. One, we had the private.
Which interstate?
Yeah, the
gateway?
The gateway.
Okay.
That's the key word, gateway. So the cleanup is going good. I believe Heather will be sending y'all a weekly update. And the next phase will be the actual maintenance, and I hope that's on the next agenda. So I just want to give you an update on that as well. On the World Games, we're getting a lot of requests for road closures, parking. So we're trying to assimilate, put that together, who it's coming from, where it's coming from. Hopefully get a report back to you as well. And I'm meeting with some of them tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Focus more on how we access the courthouse during the World Games and what they're suggesting.
Weren't they suggesting at one time to closing Abraham Woods and then making Richard Darrington Jr. a 2-way? In other words, go to here and then you gotta go to that way.
That's right, but currently they're showing closing in front of us up at Parker. So you'd have to go through kind of a check and get a credential. So we're trying to really make sure I understand exactly what they're doing so I can tell you more about it. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know a lot of people are asking questions. I'm trying to just figure out exactly what's what so I can be accurate in what the ask is and get back to you.
And about the business district downtown, so when they close the streets, are they gonna still have proper access to the business district and the tourist district? Because I've been getting called about the tourist districts. And they still don't have it on their website, like I asked them.
Yeah, I don't know, I would push them to the city of Birmingham, but we're kind of the same, but.
Well, you're looking at uptown too. What about all those businesses down there? Down the right under? It's a big rock and roll.
So,
You just gotta get to them.
You just gotta take a trip to get to them.
how are we coming out with that, I think it was the Gateway Project, Claude Nielsen, represented.
It's going good, they've been, if you've been.
And where are they located? I think, as a commission, it'd be good for us to be able to see those different gateways that leads to.
I've heard a lot of good comments already.
We'll email you the maps of all the locations, it's pretty much, I-20, 59 coming from the east, going west, starting at about, around the airport. And then from I-65 around Green Springs, going north, 280 where the cut goes to the mountain, they landed off that mountain, it looks, I had no idea that looks so.
So let me,
That's part of this project.
Yes.
That's right.
so let me ask this question too. Is it possible, I was a part of a community meeting, but I think this would be a great opportunity, particularly when you're talking about east, for going from airport leading to Trussville. It's very dark on the interstate. I know that there's ALDOT, but is there some sort of nudge that we can give to ALDOT to help us, well, since we're talking about the World Games, and we know that because of the fact that we have hotels that have been full in Birmingham for, from what I'm hearing, is a couple months, right? So then that they are moving people into other areas, such as Trussville and Hoover and some of these other places, even going to Clay Chalkwood, if you're going up the interstate. I'd just be interested in knowing how we can make sure that those lights are functioning. They've been down for a while, but get them back functioning. But I know that that's through ALDOT.
There's
Mayor's Association
working on that with the cities and ALDOT to formulate who takes care of what,
And right now it's on the cities to work with ALDOT on who's taking responsibility, and that was the last thing.
So here's what I'm trying to say, though I'm very cautious in how to say it in this meeting. Particularly for Birmingham, I can't speak for Trussville, that was already an agreement that was made with Phillips in order to make sure that those lights were done. But it doesn't matter at this point where we are, is that it just doesn't look good when you're talking about tourism and you're speaking of things that's related to public safety. So I was trying to figure out, obviously the nudging is not working. So if we can levy our relationship with the State Department so that those visitors who are going to those outer areas, that we have the proper lighting in place for public safety.
And
striping.
And what about the homeless community and the public safety in these areas where they are going to have the events? I know they talked about it, but what is going to happen to the homeless community? And then after the World Games, what are they going to go back to the norm, or what they going to do?
That's a different committee.
See, everybody give me the runaround.
No,
I can't do the runaround. I'm just telling you, I don't know.
Runaround, they just don't have an
They should have been had one by now.
Well, they've had some ideas thrown out there, but I don't know what the decisions have been made.
So here's what I'm saying is I think that this is a trial run for the county, being that we have another similar kind of game coming up in 25. And so even inclusive of what Commissioner Tyson is talking about, that if we see that there is some weaknesses in these cities, that if we can look to the county to try to fill in the gap. Because again, it's a great time for Jefferson County. And I think if we show that we are the leader in this scenario, I just don't want us, as you talk about, less than 100 days out, you know? Yeah, I mean.
And we had these problems before we even.
I know that there was some discussion about altering, having some alternative housing at one time, away from the city center. But, I mean, that was discussed.
Well, but see, that's what I'm saying, even with what the presentation that they had, and I'm not gonna be too much longer, but even with their presentation that they had at the last committee meeting, that's what they were talking about, is that, you know, these hotels are full here within the Birmingham property. So then they're expanding out to these other areas. And what I'm saying is that I think it would behoove us as a county to do all that we can do and leverage what we can in terms of our partnerships, so that it won't become a sore eye internationally. Am I making sense?
And our commissioner, it would be now you know how high crime is around here. Now, we better have a plan, a handle on that. If we not after this past weekend, the way they was around here acting up.
Well, what's the population of homes? The what? Population of homes, you mean?
Well, one group should be able to give us that.
But
I know we're gonna have
You know how many people we're talking about?
You talking about a couple of thousand people.
We got 2,000 homes.
It's on the it might be higher than that because you talk about on the streets. I'm talking about the ones on the street. So that's one group. Then you talk about ones that actually stay in these shelters. That's another group. Then you talk about the ones that occupy property in the community. That's another group. So several different groups that fall up under the homeless category. But then you got the crime area. That they got all these people traveling out of Legion Field, out at the stadiums, Lawson Field. You look at all these areas now that these people are traveling out of. What plan do we have in place for safety and, like she said, lighting? All of these areas now. And it would
I think it's going to be incumbent upon us to have a serious
conversation. We just can't have people sitting at the table without
I'm telling you, each venue is going to be secure.
All right, now.
Each venue.
Let's hear one ready.
They have a perimeter, and I'm not going to.
But I agree with what she's saying. In essence, what has to happen is that our partnership has to be premium at this point, because all of us, if it doesn't work, will not be in the best light. So even if it comes to expanding beyond one roof, and in terms of that organization, whatever we need to do to make sure that the people who don't have a place to go or stay, that we are being mindful of how we go about that.
I'm not sure the real.
Let me put it this way.
The bottom issue is having a place. Is will they go there?
Stay.
Well, that's the reason why you have whatever that meeting that needs to be had, we need to have it quickly. What I'm saying to you, for example, coming from eastward going to Trussville, you have folk right on the interstate, right off the interstate that have pop-up tents and everything, and they got them going in different parts of the county, period. Am I making sense? So what I'm saying is that we need to, whatever partnership that needs to happen, we need to do it to make sure that those things that we have a question about right now, that they don't go unaddressed.
Because they got their on and off ramps locked down. It's a person pulling a shift on each one of them. And I'm not trying, it's locked down. I don't know where y'all live at. I travel. It's locked down all the way up to 10 o'clock at night.
Where at?
On all of them. You can go on this interstate right now. You're going to find somebody out there. Get up on this one by St. Vincent. They already out there. Green screens. It's a shift being pulled. It's probably about 3 or 4 of them. They locked down.
I found out when I was campaigning that I had to compete with the guys on the side of it.
So I don't know, and then a lot of it, it's because we do give them money, because I'm guilty. I admit that, I'm guilty, but we gotta do something. And then we gotta make it safe, so they have been trying to clean up the areas and cut the grass and stuff, but I would just hate for something to happen.
So Commissioner Knight is our representative, and so these things that we're talking about, we can, you would look that up, and then even if it means we have to have a special meeting, Mr. President, I'm saying whatever funding or resources that we have to be able to address, I think that we've been doing a super job as relates to making sure that our financial support has been there, but I think that we've got to employ some additional help. We got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what we want to do, we want to stay in our lane.
Oh, I agree with
This
that.
is the Birmingham World Games.
Yeah.
And whatever we do, we need to coordinate with them and through their security and their plan. I'm sure that we may have a plan, or we can come up with a plan, but I promise you that they've got.
I was saying that we needed to partner with whatever entity.
Yeah, and there's our liaison, I think he'll do that.
And we have a lot of people, like some foreigners that's actually coming into my community. They have already rented out 16 houses. So we know where they gonna be at. And so the community is actually trying to do something to welcome them, try to make sure that they safe in our area. And I believe they getting a cheap price and they getting everywhere to get.
All right, anything else? Adjourn.